What's up, guys? Mike, Grinding Gears Garage. We are going to be rebuilding our bottom end of our Yamaha blaster. As you can see, we're already finished. I forgot to film an intro, so I'm doing it now. So go ahead and follow along tonight as we rebuild our bottom end. We have another video, which I'll put right here, that we disassembled our bottom end, and another video, which I'll also put right here, which is us removing the block from the blaster. So we're going to go over putting new seals, gaskets, splitting, putting Yamaha on the case halves, putting it back together, all that good stuff. So thanks for watching. And as always, please like, subscribe, share this with all your friends. All right, let's get started. So we got our little handy hand impact here. We're going to use it to break the seal retainer. Just like that, it's loose. Can't beat it. It's one of the best tools we've ever bought. So get better access at your seal. There's a little spacer here that you can remove. Set it off to the side. I'm trying to use a screwdriver here to pry up on our seal. Hey, there we go. She popped out. The pocket's pretty gross and there's some grit in there. We're going to try and clean it up the best we can. You can see it's corroded slightly. So we're trying to clean that pocket out nice and good. And we'll install our new crank seal. So for our new seals, we're using Winderosa seals. It's a joint collaboration between All Balls Racing and Winderosa. They carried by All Balls. You can find it on their website. They're fantastic seals. So we're going to install our new seal, and don't forget your little spacer, obviously, that goes on the inside. So this seal has a oil ring, the spring on both sides, so it doesn't matter how you install it. We prefer to go with the number side, which is this side here, up, just for reference if you ever need a part number. I'm going to take our hammer and just lightly tap it in. I think what we're going to do before we install our shift fork is we're going to flip the case over and change out our seal. So this is where your shifter comes out. We are going to change this seal to a new one so we don't have to worry about any leaks. Just go ahead and put the screwdriver in there. Pops right out. Our new kit that we got from All Balls and Winderosa seals should have a direct replacement. What we do is we just find the seal that matches correctly. This one right here. We're going to go ahead and put the numbers out and the spring in. Hammer. There we go. Got a new shifter seal. No more leaks from anywhere in this engine. So we're going to flip it back over. A little leakage. Why does this not want to stay out? Alright, so we got our stator cover case half all cleaned up. We're going to replace some seals. We already did our shifter gear seal, so we're going to do a primary drive, our clutch rod seal, and our crank seal. So pretty much how we remove seals is with a screwdriver. It's fairly simple. Just got it in between the bearing and the seal and turn. And usually, there we go. They pop right out. So as you can see, it's our old seal. Match the numbers to our new one. And size. Same one. We're going to clean up the pocket first before we install our new seals, get all the old oil and gunk out of there. Then we're going to do our clutch rod seal. We're going to set our old seals off to the side so we don't get them mixed up. And then our other crank seal. This one can be a little tough. So we're actually going to drive it out from the inside. There we go. We drove our seal out from the inside. We're going to take our rag and some purple power, any type of degreaser. We're going to go ahead and just clean up the pocket, get any crud out of there, any dirt, debris, any part of the seal that may have came off when we were removing it, and then we're going to reinstall our new seals. So when you have the motor apart, you want to check out all your bearings while you have everything disassembled to make sure everything's in good working order. If not, it'd be time to replace it. But all we really do is take our finger in our bearing, apply pressure to the inner race, and just listen for any real rough and clunky sounding bearings. All of ours on this case half sound good. We're going to remove our transmission and inspect all of those bearings to make sure everything's good, make sure we don't have any issues. So we're going to go ahead and install our new seals now. So we have our primary drive. We're just going to lightly tap it with our mallet. You don't want to use anything metal because you could actually damage the seal. So we got that in, went in nice and easy. And do our upper seal here for the clutch. And went in nice and easy as well. And we're going to do the crank bearing seal. So there we go. All our seals are in. Good. They're undamaged. So we're ready to finish up our cleanup on the other case half, check out our other bearings, and we'll go over the other seals on that side. Alright, so this is our clutch cover side. Here is our oil pump gear and shaft. We are actually going to keep this intact. We're going to bolt the oil pump back on. We did remove the white gear that was here on the inside. It's held in by an E-clip and a pin which goes through that hole right there. We popped that off. We're going to replace the seal that's underneath here since it came with our kit so we can prevent oil from leaking. You're just going to take this E-clip and with a screwdriver just pop it right off. There we go. It tends to go flying, so be careful so you don't lose it. Pull your shaft right out. Now, if you were doing a delete, it'd be perfect time to do it. You're gonna remove that gear, and then you have a plate that bolts on here to delete all this. Take our screwdriver and pop our oil seal out. Now, this one's gonna get installed different because we're installing it on the inside. Your spring side here, your inner part of the seal, is actually what we're going to install. It's a little different than all of our other ones. We're going to clean up the oil. It's in there. Start one side. Grab our mallet. There we go. Now that seal's installed. We're going to reinstall our gear. See, sometimes the screwdriver works better depending on angle. So now our shaft's reinstalled. We can replace our Kickstarter seal. It's the last seal in the kit that we have. So this one's just like all the other ones, screwdriver right underneath. popped right out. Take a rag, clean up the excess oil, any of the old grit that's in there. Then we're going to take our new seal and install it the same way we did all the others. Numbers facing out, obviously. Oil spraying towards the inside. Few taps, she's in. Alright, so we got all our seals replaced in our bottom end and getting ready to mate the case halves back together. We cleaned up both sides here. We're going to clean up the mud on the outside of this case half once we get everything back together. One thing you want to make sure of, clean up the top of where your cylinder mates. They recommend use a slight coat of Yamaha with the base gasket as well. So we cleaned ours up ahead of time just in case we had any pieces fall into the motor. Take everything out, clean it up. So we're going to be using Yamaha 4. It's a liquid gasket. Yamaha recommends to use it between the case halves. There's no actual gasket like some bikes. So we're going to get set up and we're going to cut our tip on our tube. There's a couple different ways to apply this. I was reading up on how other people do it just for reference. Some people use small model paint brushes. I just like to use my finger, apply a nice coat. Other people take old credit cards or cards of that sort to use it as almost like a spatula or a scraper. I have some metal scrapers. I'm going to give that technique a try tonight and see how it looks. So we're going to set up our tripod and we're going to apply some Yamaha to this case half. So when we flip it over, we can apply it. It's easier to do it to this case half. Obviously our transmission's still in. It'd be tight getting back in here between the crank and the gears. So we're going to apply it to this. They recommend to put it on both sides, but if we get a good enough coating on here, we should be okay when we mate the case halves. So we just snipped the tip right off of our tube. We didn't go too crazy on it. So basically all we're going to do is apply a thin coat on our finger. Try and spread it nice and even over the case. Now, you don't want to apply too much, which you'll be able to tell here in a second when you put your case halves together. If you apply too much Yamaha, what will actually happen is it'll squeeze out. Now, if it squeezes out outside, you know it's squeezing out on the inside, which isn't good, because then you're going to have a little lip on the inside. So that's pretty much all our edges there. So we are going to grab our bolts. Excuse me. They're all Phillips head. And grab them, set them aside, so when we put this together, we can go ahead and apply some pressure with some bolts. So just going to line up our crank and our primary drive. Alright, so we got the case. Case is finally lined up. Everything nice and tight. We had a very, very thin amount squeezing out. Not too big of a deal. So we're going to put all the correct bolts back in. I have to look up the torque spec. I'm not 100% on that, but we're going to torque them to spec. Wipe off any excess Yamaha around the outside. There shouldn't be much. And then once we're done that, we're going to start reassembling the clutch side of the motor. Then we can put the top end back on and hopefully get it ready to run. So we're going to tap it over. Hey, there we go. I need to rotate this right to there. So that works fantastic. Put that in a little further. There we go. Take our 10mm, snug this bolt up. So now we got our shifter seal changed. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our shift rod. Just like that. And we're going to make sure it stays up in the air. Don't want to apply pressure to it and push it back out. So next gear in line is the one that goes on this shaft here. Remember, there was a snap ring all the way at the bottom. So we're going to grab our snap ring pliers. There we go, she's nice and tight. And then remember, there was a washer bottom. Excuse me. This part of the gear was up. We had another washer. And then our snap ring. So we got our gear installed. Remember, washer top, washer bottom. What we found is the shaft floats a little bit on the inside. It's tight now, obviously. But what you can do is push your primary drive shaft up, and you can get more slop in the shaft to get your snap ring on. Next thing is our kicker gear. I'm going to reinstall that. Alright, so we're going to install our kicker gear. Your spring here that is on your part of the gear sits in this little pocket right here. So you need to give it a little half turn. There we go. And this spring spins, sits right in that little pocket right here. So kicker gear's installed. Next we're going to do the crank balancer. Obviously it's a keyed shaft, so we're going to line up the keyway. This one was a little, not tight, but there's a little interference taking it off. So then we're going to take a small screwdriver, help line up our keyway. We're going to take our keyway and drop it in. A little off. There we go. Keyway's in. And then our plate that you bend up into place has a little nipple on it. That is going to fit against in our keyway. So we're going to just snug this for now by hand. We're not going to fully tighten. And then we're going to grab our main driven gear, which there's timing marks on both of these, as you can see. So obviously they need to be timed in unison. So we're going to turn this over. This is where the timing marks come into play. And then, and we also have our keyway on this one, and there's a larger gear on top. No timing mark, as you can see. The V was on the top. So we're going to spin this around. Our timing marks still line up. And drop this into place. Take our keyway. screwdriver. There we go. As you can see, our engine is correctly timed now with the timing dots. Next thing would be our, oops, so I pushed our clutch rod out. Our shifter rod, I should say. So that's installed. Next thing is going to be our clutch. We are just going to install the basket. So you need your 2 spacers that go in between the bearing and your clutch basket. I'm going to clean these up. This one, your larger gas or washer, goes all the way down against. Oops. Where did I put that little screwdriver? There we go. We did forget to mention, and then this little spring washer goes against there. Did forget to put our 19 millimeter on our main drive gear off our crank. So we got our new crank balancer in from Sean over at HPM. So we tighten this down. A little trick that we have is we take a crush washer, place it in between the gears, because as you tighten it, it's going to want to turn. So that will allow this to deform before your gears. Won't damage your gears at all. So we snug that up, it's nice and tight. We're going to fold this ear over. We're going to go ahead and install our clutch basket. So we're putting our clutch basket in. Don't forget you have the larger washer down here on the bottom. Oops. And you have this sprung washer that goes on top. It is a spring washer, so it's kind of tapered. So this end up here curves up, goes against the basket. So we're going to take our basket, we're going to clean it up. So clutch just meshes in with, there we go, meshes in with the gear here on your crank, and it also meshes with this gear right here. So you just want to make sure they're all lined up. It'll drop into place, and then you're going to want to take this little plate here that has the same part as your splines. What you're going to do is you're going to set that in and turn it a quarter of a turn. Not a quarter of a turn, I should say, a quarter of a spline. That way, locks your clutch basket in, can't physically come out. Then we're going to take our inner part of our clutch basket, clean this up, get any old oil, any gunk off of it. It's fairly clean. And that sets on your hub again. And remember, you have your locking washer here. There's a little nub which fits right here in the inner basket. So we're going to put that on, and then we're going to grab our nut, which is also a 19 millimeter, same as your crank balancer and all that. Run that in. And we're going to make this snug. I'm not sure of a torque value. I'm going to look it up real quick. But you need to make it at least tight enough, and very tight, that then you can fold one of these ears up against the side of the nut. So that's where we're going to stop with the clutch for now. We have to grab our new pads and soak them in oil overnight so we can go ahead and install them tomorrow. So to soak our clutches overnight, we like to soak them in whatever we're going to use in the bike. So for our blaster, we're going to use ATF. That's what we're going to run in the gear case. Some people prefer to use some sort of oil, whether that would be like Gear Saver or something like that. We choose to use ATF. You do have to change it more often, but it's way cheaper, way easier. You have to use Type F, which a lot of ones are listed as an early Ford. It has a clutch modifier in it. You need that, obviously. So we're going to grab our clutch discs, let it soak overnight, install them tomorrow. We'll be ready to rock. So we've had our clutch discs sitting for 24 hours. We're going to go ahead and install them. So it's pretty basic. Just going to take one disc, let the ATF drain off. And as you can see, this is your inner basket has your bottom friction plate on it. So you're just going to take one clutch disc, you're going to install it. Then you're going to take your brand new OEM friction material here, one of them, and then you're going to take a new disc, install that, new friction material, and you're pretty much just going to keep alternating between discs and friction material until you are all out. And it should end with the last piece you're going to put in is a friction disc, because the top part of your clutch basket is your other friction material. Alright, so now that we got our clutch discs in, we're going to go over an important part you don't want to forget. Remember that little ball bearing and the rod that goes inside of your drive gear? You don't want to forget that. On the drive gear, there's a slight dimple on the end. That's going to go between this ball bearing and the little dimple. So you guys can see it on that end. So make sure to install that. It's a crucial part. So we have our new Tusk clutch kit. Came with new springs. So we're going to go ahead and install them. So we're going to take our plate. This is your friction area right here, your final area. You just want to check this right here for any real grooving. Ours is in pretty good shape. There's no real issues with it. So we're going to go ahead and set this right on there. As you can see, it kind of only goes on, oops, one way. These pockets right here need to come through this part of the cover. So we're going to take our new springs here with our bolts and drop them in. So we got all of our clutch springs in. The torque on your springs is 4.2 foot-pounds. Not a whole lot. The bolts are pretty small and they go into an aluminum housing. So you want to be very careful, oops, when putting these in, seeing as you don't want to strip out the housing, your outer clutch basket. So it's important when torquing stuff like this to go in a star pattern. It's like torquing a wheel or say a header flange on an engine. You want to go in a star pattern, so we start with this one. We're just going to kind of hop around. Set at 4.2, ours is set at 4.5, but 4.5 foot-pounds. Just snug these up. We'll be good to go. Get the case, this case half on, this side, new gasket, and we'll be ready to flip to the other side. So we got our Athena gasket set here. We got our new side case cover on, our cleaned up cover. We have to bolt on the oil pump yet, that's no big deal. We're just gonna go ahead and line up our shaft there. So there, we're seated all the way. We're gonna grab our bolts, go ahead and tighten them down, torque them as well. They're the same as the case halves, which is 8 foot-pounds. So go ahead and tighten them up. We're gonna put oil pump cover, ready to flip the motor over. So your oil pump just slides back on. Remember, there is a gasket underneath here, so don't forget that. 2 little Phillips screws. Just get snugged up. So we got our stator here. We plopped it in. It only goes in one direction as your wiring comes out this side here. Fits right in there nicely. You have your 2 screws. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten them up. One of the biggest things you need to be sure of when you're reinstalling your stator is all of your pickups are clean for your lighting and your electronics. And then this is your ignition point here. So you want to make sure all this is nice and clean and ready to roll. We're going to take our flywheel, which is in a sad state of cleanliness right now. We're going to go ahead and clean this up before we reinstall it. Clean all the mud and the gunk off. So we got our flywheel all cleaned up. One thing that's really important you don't lose, there's a little Woodruff key right there. That's what helps key your timing for your flywheel. So you're going to want to install this right over that keyway. It'll be a little challenging, seeing as it is magnetic. And then just set the camera down here. There we go. Put your spacer on, then your nut. It's a 17 millimeter. We're just going to give it a little shot with the impact, and then we're going to torque it down to 55 foot-pounds. This is just to help make it go a little quicker. All right, so we're gonna grab our strap wrench to help hold our flywheel in place. So we got our flywheel nut torqued down. We're going to go ahead and put our stator cover back on. If you guys are looking for a new stator cover, hit up HPM. I will put their link in the description. They are releasing a new stator cover for the Blaster. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully we'll get our hands on one and check it out and do a little product review for you guys. So thanks for watching. Our bottom end is now rebuilt I should say, complete. We're going to clean up this case half real quick before everything's all said and done. So then our next video, we're going to be porting our cylinder head. We're going to do some porting and polishing here on the transfer ports and our exhaust port. And we're also going to show you guys how to bore out your cylinder with a engine hone. It's easy to do in your garage. You're not going over real big. We're only going a couple thousandths. So thanks for watching. As always, please like and subscribe and share this with any of your friends who are having issues with their Blaster. Thanks guys. Have a good one.